Welcome to Paradigms at paradigms.life, the radio show and podcast that brings you inspiring people with visions of a viable future for life on Earth that includes humans. Hi, I'm Baruch. Welcome to the show. We've got a really amazing guest. She has just released a new record. She's a flautist, and she's going to tell us about her motivation, her inspiration, and the music will just blow your mind. This is like nothing you've ever heard before. So instead of me telling you about it, I'm going to let her tell us about it. Let's meet her right now on this episode of Paradigms. Naïssam Jalal, welcome to Paradigms.
Thank you.
I'm very much looking forward to talking with you. I saw your record, Healing Rituals, and the name just grabbed me because, well, healing, who doesn't love healing and know that we all need it? So
Yeah.
It was really wonderful to listen to that music today before talking with you, and gave me lots of questions to ask you. Before I get into all that, though, I would love to just know a little bit of your story, how you came to be making this amazing music.
I was very interested in the relationship between spirituality and music for a long time. And I was very interested in the place of silence and how silence can really bring sense to what is said. And I was very interested into trance also. So trance and silence are the two principal elements we use in all the music, spiritual music and healing music for centuries. Like that's the two elements that human beings has used in their music for lots of time. So I was very much inspired by Arabic classical music and North Indian classical music about silence. And I was very much inspired by North African and Western African music about trance. But of course, in the trance music, there is always a bit of silence. And in the silent music, there is always a bit of trance also. So it's not like everything is separated. So the first step, really like real step of this research about the relationship between spirituality and music was Quest of the Invisible, my trio. I released this album in 2019. And the second step was Healing Rituals. Why Healing Rituals? Because I have been very sick 10 years ago. And a friend of mine came to my room in the hospital and he played for me. And it makes me feel so good. So I really felt the power of music into my body. And I did this experience myself. Then in 2017, I was having a artistic residency in a theater in Western France. And the director, he said, I would love if you could like imagine something outside the theater. To play outside the theater. So I proposed to go and play in the hospital in the rooms of the patients because I had the chance to have a musician friend to play with me. But everyone doesn't have a musician friend, right? So I went to play in the rooms for the people and it was very powerful. And people, they really feel better and they were always crying. You know, and also there is something else when I'm playing for now 10 years. Every concert I do, there is someone that comes, at least one person that comes after the concert to tell me that she or he was crying when I was playing. And I think people are not crying because they are sad. I think people, they are crying because they have something like this. And when they cry, it goes.
Yes.
So they have a knot somewhere inside, and with the music, it goes. So that's what made me feel like, all right, I have experienced the healing force of music myself. And when I play, people, they are really crying. So they are really releasing something. I played in the hospital and people felt better. So I should really write these rituals for making people feel better. And also the relationship with the nature was pretty obvious, because when I'm walking into the nature on the river or in the forest or on the hills or just sitting under the sun, I feel nature is feeding me, you know? I feel really better. I feel good. I feel okay. So I really wanted to get inspired not only from healing rituals and spiritual music, but also from the feeling I have from nature, how the river make me feel, because the river is a flow and it's always going, you know? And when we are feeling bad, we say, let it go. And when you look at the river is telling you, let it go, you know? So there is many things like this. So when, for example, I wrote the ritual of the river, I was really like trying to express this feeling of letting go with the movement of the river, the flow of the water, you know? And each ritual is related to an element of nature that is somehow a way to release pain or calm the fear of being sick also.
I'm talking with Naïssam Jalal about her new album, Healing Rituals. And we're going to continue talking about healing and music. But first, let's just listen to some. Each track on the album is a healing ritual inspired by an aspect of nature, of the earth. So we're going to start out by listening to Ritual de la Rivière, which is a ritual of the river. And then we'll be back with more conversation. Naïssam Jalal, Healing Rituals. This is Paradigms at paradigms.life. Ritual de la Rivière, Naïssam Jalal, from her album Healing Rituals. You just feel the river and the healing of the river. Here's the next part of my conversation with Naïssam Jalal. Your instrument, the flute, it's a beautiful instrument, and it's an instrument that literally only works with your life breath. It is your actual life force moving through the instrument that makes the sounds that we hear. And so I know that playing it is not just an action you go through, going through the motions. It is your life force actually in expression every time.
That's true. That's true.
It's powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And the breath in the Sufi tradition, which is the Sufi tradition, about?
Yes.
Yeah. So in the Sufi tradition, the breath and the flute, especially the nai, is really much related to the relationship with the divine, because the soul is a breath. And when we name inspiration, we name it breath.
I'm right with you. But my work in the world is in the healing arts. So
Nice.
I was so attracted to your record immediately. And I love everything you're saying, because these are profound truths that everyone can live with and enrich their lives with.
Yeah, definitely. You are a painter?
Not really. I am a psychotherapist.
All right. Nice.
And a body worker. So I do the healing work with people on the table or on the blanket. But I also, especially since COVID, have mostly been doing the online face-to-face counseling. But to me, creativity and all the arts, everything, whether it's a healing art or a physical painting or music or dance, all the arts are ultimately about healing. It's all about how we experience the human condition and trying always to be moving towards a more realized state.
Exactly.
Not just as individuals, but as all of us.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely. Yeah. Because if you are releasing some pain inside you and you are expressing it, so the people, they can share this release. And that's the beautiful part of it. That was my experience when people, they come and they say, I was crying when you were crying, right? Because actually I was crying also in my flute, right? So they say I was crying, and I was like, all right, so when I cry, they cry. When I feel better, they feel better. So let's do it together,
We are really all connected, whether we are aware of it or not. It is all the time, always, 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 every moment. We are one being.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the relationship with spirituality. So that's the link. Yeah, of course.
That's so good. I noticed in your playing, just a little thing that I noticed is that there are times when you are vocalizing while you are playing the flute.
Yeah,
and I honestly have not heard people do that before. And it's not like it's a big deal that you're showing off doing that. It just happens in part of the music. But it made me think of like the throat singing, where they're making a chord with one person using resonance in different parts of their body at the same time.
Deepening. Yes. Actually, this technique is inspired by the shepherds of Western Africa, because there is a flute they play in Senegal and Mali, for example. Also in Guinea, they play a flute, the shepherds, and they sing and they play. So they, for example. And there is also people in Congo, they do it in the forest. But it's different flutes, right? So they use both voice and breathing. And the first time I heard this technique, it was Rassan Roland Kuk, the sax player.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was singing Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. And he was singing it inside the flute. And you can almost hear the words he's talking inside the flute. It's amazing. And then I went in tour in Mali to tour with a band from Mali, traditional percussions and instruments from Mali. And then I found out that this technique is coming from the shepherds there. So I'm sure that Rassan Roland Kirk, he has listened to Western African music, and he has listened to this, and he has used this technique in his own style, of course. And there is some other flute players that has used, it's not very common, but there is, I'm not the only one. And every jazz musician had used this technique with his own voice and his own direction also, and his own sensibility, the things that he or she wants to express, right? So it's not very common, but it has an origin outside before. And I'm using it, as you were saying about this living breath. The voice is the same. For me, the flute can express things I cannot express with words. So the flute is my voice and my voice is my flute, so both are continuing each other.
I haven't heard that much before, as I said, and it just grabbed me. It's like, okay, because it's, again, so much of your being is involved in what you're sharing with us. This is, music has been turned into a commodity, but it isn't.
No, music is not advertising or distraction. Music is very powerful. Actually, music in the old civilization was not, most of the time, it was not for kings. Most of the time it was for gods. It was sacred. Music was for rituals, for prayers, for all these things. It was not related to, sometimes it was, of course, relating for dancing and marriage, but most of the time it was sacred.
But it wasn't like entertainment in the background the way we have electric music on all the time now. It was an event. The performing of music was an event, and you stopped and you paid attention.
Yeah, of course. But it's good to have music with us all the time because it helps us to face the violence of this world. But also it has been turned into a business, which is not the essence of this art, because as you were telling, the art is a very much spiritual exercise or expression. So even for me, music is a spiritual activity, and it's sacred to me. But still, I'm selling my CDs, I'm selling my concert tickets, because we are in this world. But when people, they buy a ticket, I'm not giving them something they can consume, We are sharing something much deeper, which has no price, actually.
No, they buy a ticket into the space, but what happens in the space is something else.
Exactly.
We're going to listen to a couple more tracks from Healing Rituals right now, and then we'll be back with more conversation with flautist Naïssam Jalal. This first one is Ritual de la Forêt, Ritual of the Forest. We just heard Ritual de la Colline, which is Ritual of the Hills, and we started out with Ritual de la Forêt, the Ritual of the Forest. And now let's get back to my conversation with composer, flautist, Naïssam Jalal. This is Paradigms at paradigms.life. I know you grew up in France and spent your young life there, and that you eventually made your way to your ancestral home of Syria.
Yeah.
I want to know what you experienced there. What did you see, and how did that affect you?
I spent some time in Syria to learn the Arabic, the Arabic flute, bamboo flute. And it was very hard because dictatorship is very hard. And as a French woman, I was not prepared to dictatorship, as no one should be prepared, actually. And it was very hard for me. And I haven't spent so much time in Syria because precisely I was all the time followed by the guys from the regime because I was strange, because I was behaving not the way that Syrian should behave, right? Even though I was doing nothing, I was just smoking cigarettes in the street, for example. So it's very, ooh. Yeah. So then I've been to Egypt, and I have spent some time, 3 years in Egypt. And for me, going to Arabic countries was very important because in France, there is a lot of racism. And as an Arabic descendant, we can say, I was really wondering, who are these Arab people I am supposed to be related to, right? Because I was born in France and I know nothing about Arabic countries, especially I didn't speak Arabic. So I was really trying to understand who are the Arabs and do I want to be an Arab or not? And do I feel that I'm an Arab or not? And, it was like an identity quest or something like this. And at the same time, it was musical research and path because I was really discovering Arabic music and maqams, the modes of Arabic music and the intervals very different from the European or Western music. And I was discovering many things about silence also with the Quranic recitation. I heard the Quran. It was so beautiful because there is no instruments. It's only the voice and it's a sacred text. And so you need to respect the text. So you need to make a long silence between the phrases. And when I experienced this silence, I was like, wow. I was getting crazy in the silences because I was really feeling like the divine is inside the silence. And it was amazing, amazing. Yeah, I loved it.
It makes me want to ask you, not that I expect you to have the big answers, but, and I'm putting it in quotes, the Arab world and the Western world.
Yeah.
Always seeming to be so separate and different. I mean, humans are humans. We are all,
of course,
more alike than we are different. But these cultures, belief systems, ways of being, practices, and these differences, as with other perceived differences in the world, have become the grounds for all kinds of enmity, animosity, alienation. And I'm just curious from your perspective where you stand in relation to these worlds. What do you think? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What are your recommendations?
My recommendation is to be curious. The problem is everyone is talking about Arabic people, but no one knows who are the Arabs, right? If people were a little bit more curious, they would find out that this civilization, the Arabic civilization, is amazing. And that, historically, in the philosophy, in the medicine, in the everything, they were so much amazing. And we still have in the Arabic countries this heritage, right? But with the dictatorship everywhere, there was colonization. So it was very hard for the people to stand up after this colonization. So I think when you go to Istanbul, actually, to go from Western world to Middle Eastern world, you just have to cross a bridge, right? So you just see the bridge and you say, all right, so these are two civilizations that cannot really talk together. This is crazy, you know, this makes no sense. I think people, they really believe what media says or stupid people say because they have no knowledge, because they have no curiosity. You know, for example, in France, the most racist people are the people who has no black people, no Arabic people, no Asian people in their area. The areas that goes to vote to the radical fascist right wing are the people who has no strangers, strangers in their area. Because if they knew black people or Arabic people or Asian people, they would know that these people are human beings like them, and they are nice, and they have beautiful music, and they have amazing food, and they have nice colors, and they have amazing things, you know. But people, because they are not curious and they are really living in a bad ignorance, because ignorance is easier.
And then, of course, there are those people who see fear as a wedge they can use to gain power or status or whatever.
Of course, there is a lot of people taking advantage of this ignorance, of course.
We'll be back with the final part of my conversation with Naïssam Jalal after we hear another ritual from her album Healing Rituals. This one is Ritual du Soleil, Ritual of the Sun. Ritual du Soleil, Ritual of the Sun. All right, here is the final part of my conversation with Naïssam Jalal. This is what's in your music, this awareness, this love that you are bringing out of your own spiritual connection.
Yeah, I tried.
The album, Healing Rituals, 8 very beautiful rituals corresponding with aspects of nature that we can all relate with, that we've all experienced or hopefully have all experienced. I mean, maybe some people have never seen mist or sat by a river, but I think most people hopefully have.
Yeah, at least the river, yes.
Yes. And this music is unexpected. The sounds are unexpected. I put it on. I had no idea what I was going to be listening to. And it's not like any flute music I've ever heard before in my life. You know, I mean, this is not Jean-Paul Rampal. This is, you know, this is really transporting us. Nothing against, he's amazing. Nothing against.
Of course.
You know, this is music that takes us to a different, I want to say, mental realm, because you are so much articulating in the music. Not words, but it not even emotion. It's not like mad, sad, glad, afraid. It's something else. So it's really something to experience. I wanted to ask you, you said a little bit about what it's like when you perform, but when you are on the stage and you have these wonderful musicians playing with you, just fantastic. What is your experience in the room?
It's very powerful. I feel better. You know, music is not for healing people. It's for healing me, first of all. And I really feel better. Really, really, really. Each ritual makes me feel better. And I can feel the people. They feel better also. Yeah, that's a very beautiful experience to be on stage and share this music with these musicians and with the people. Really, it's a beautiful experience. Every time I'm so happy to play this music with the people.
I know what you're saying, because when I work with people, I have to plug into the universe to do it. And that way I am healed.
Exactly.
I feel like we got to the heart, right to the heart of it.
Yes, I guess so.
Naïssam, I am so glad you're in the world making this music for people. Anyone who gets to hear it.
Thank you so much.
Well, we're lucky.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Where are you based?
I am right now on the island of Jamaica.
Oh, in Jamaica. Nice.
Yeah. I felt a very strong desire to get out of the United States. My father's family were mostly killed in the Holocaust, and what's happening in the United States is very much moving in that direction. And I didn't want to be there for it, which is selfish in a way, but I try to still put good things into the United States, but I didn't want to be, you know, you can get shot going to the grocery store. And, you know, I mean, I can fall down in the bathtub. Anything can happen anywhere, anytime. But I just thought, I don't want to be around this right now. This isn't good. This isn't good.
Yeah.
So I'm here, which is another country full of contradictions and hardship for people and beauty and all of it. It's all of everything. Everything is everywhere.
Definitely.
But I like adventures, so this is another one.
Yeah. All right. Nice.
Yeah. So are you touring now?
No, I'm not touring. I'm leaving tomorrow for India for 1 month. I will spend 1 month there because I'm really much inspired by Indian classical music, Northern Indian classical music. And now I'm really much studying, because being inspired is something very deep and very true. Like, I was listening for Northern Indian classical music for 20 years. But now I really want to study because I need to understand. I cannot learn a music that is practiced by people for 4,000 years, you know, in a few years. It's not possible. And I have a lot of respect for this, so I cannot pretend, you know, that I'm learning. But at least I can understand a few things. So when I go to play with musicians from this tradition, we can understand a bit of each other and try to find places in between. So that's what I'm doing.
Have a fantastic time. I know you will. I know you'll have amazing, amazing experiences.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. It was very nice to chat with you. Very nice. I hope we have other occasion in the future.
I hope so too. Be
Yeah.
well.
Take care. Thank you. Thank you.
Naïssam Jalal, it was a pleasure talking with you and learning about your experiences that inspire this music, working with music as healing yourself and bringing this music to others for their healing. And now we have this record, Healing Rituals, we can all listen to and feel the healing intention and the power of music. And honestly, I've never heard anyone play the flute like this. Just amazing sounds and incredibly magical and transformative. Ritual, creating sacred space or honoring sacred space with intention, in this case, the intention of healing. This is something that everyone actually does in their own ways. We have our own little ways of inviting healing, being inspired to create an actual ritual that has a beginning, a middle, and an end with an intention. This is something humans have been doing forever. This music really is conducive to creating that space, that healing space. If you'd like to know more about Naïssam Jalal, her website is naissamjalal.com, naissamjalal.com. There's some wonderful music there, some videos, Naïssam's concert schedule, information about the fellow musicians she plays with, and more. Very worth checking out. Naïssam, thank you again. One of the really powerful things about this music is that it is music that comes from the breath of a human being. Her life force, her actual life breath is what makes these sounds that we hear that affect us. That's powerful. It's powerful that she's doing it, and it's something that's powerful that we all do. We use our life breath to affect the world when we speak, when we sing, when we breathe. So we're going to let the word for the week be breath. We've done that before. Let's do it again. Let's be really conscious of our breath, but not just the breathing in and out. But when we breathe in, what are we breathing in? With what intention? And when we're breathing out, what are we breathing out? And with what intention? And when the breath goes into our words, what is the intention? Healing intentionally with breath. It takes many forms. So, at this time in the world, with so much change and so many people in so much reaction, fear, anger, violence, there's also breath and healing and love and the beauty of the earth and nature and each other. You know, you experience what you focus on, so we can choose what to focus our attention on. Let's go with breath. And if you enjoyed this episode of Paradigms, please visit our website at paradigms.life, where you'll find all of the Paradigms archives. This is our 600th episode. Congratulations to Paradigms and to all our listeners who've made this possible. Enjoy. Okay, I'm going to leave you with another track from Naïssam Jalal's album Healing Rituals. This is Ritual de la Terre, Ritual of the Earth. Let yourself feel it and breathe with healing intent. All right. Baruch signing off for this episode of Paradigms. We'll be back next time with more inspiring people. Until then, breathe and be well. You've been listening to Paradigms at paradigms.life.